Jaden McDaniels of the Minnesota Timberwolves is making serious waves in the NBA right now. It's hard to believe just how impactful his play has been during the Timberwolves playoff run. And considering his draft position just 4 years ago, his rise has been somewhat unexpected. Today we're going to take a look back at every single player that was taken ahead of him in the 2020 NBA draft and see where they are now. And trust me, you'll find some of these decisions surprising. If you guys enjoy the content, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Let's dive in. Jaden's journey to the NBA is a testament to his development and perseverance. Coming out of high school, Jaden was a highly touted prospect, ranked 7th in the class of 2019 by ESPN. He was known for his potential as a two-way player and his versatile skill set. He chose to play college ball at the University of Washington, where he had a mixed freshman year. Despite his 6'10" frame and impressive wingspan that scouts loved, his college stats didn't blow anyone away. He was raw, and while he showed flashes of potential, he averaged just 13 points and 5.8 rebounds in his lone college season. His defensive skills were notable, but offensively he was inconsistent. Leading up to the 2020 NBA draft, McDaniels was seen as a wild card. Some mock drafts had him in the first round, while others saw him slipping into the second round due to concerns over his offensive game and physical strength. Many scouts either wanted to take the chance on his potential and his elite abilities showed in high school, while other scouts were lower on him due to his modest college performance. Ultimately, Jaden was selected 28th overall by the Los Angeles Lakers. He was then traded to the Oklahoma City Thunder along with Danny Green for Dennis Schroeder. He ended up being traded again to the Minnesota Timberwolves, along with the draft rights of Immanuel Quickley, in exchange for Aleksej Pokusevski. At the time, the pick received a mixed reaction. Many analysts were not convinced about his NBA readiness and questioned whether he had the physicality to match up against the NBA's best. In his rookie season, Jaden had to adapt to the NBA's pace and physicality, and while he showed glimpses of his potential, especially defensively, his offensive game needed work. He averaged just over 6 points per game, but his defensive metrics, including blocks and perimeter defense, were very promising. But fast forward to now and the narrative has shifted dramatically. McDaniels has become a key player for the Timberwolves and arguably the best wing defender in all of basketball. His defensive capabilities have turned him into an extremely valuable asset on that end of the floor, and his offensive game is catching up, showing improvement in his shooting and decision-making. This season he's taken a significant leap, becoming a reliable contributor on both ends of the floor. Now let's compare him to the other players selected in the 2020 draft. Players like Anthony Edwards and LaMelo Ball were immediate standouts, chosen first and third respectively. They've lived up to their high expectations, but when you look at others picked ahead of McDaniels, the impact varies. Obi Toppin, taken 8th, has shown flashes, but hasn't consistently impacted games. Killian Hayes was a massive bust. Many of these players selected before McDaniels have had ups and downs and are still finding their footing in the NBA. But let's take a deep dive and look at all 27 players taken ahead of McDaniels in the 2020 NBA draft. This isn't a scenario where we can look back and say, what were these teams thinking? Because McDaniels was a highly athletic forward who wasn't offensively polished and hadn't proved himself as a consistent high-volume scorer in college. But it's still fun to look back. At the time, there were clear top 3 prospects heading into this draft. Anthony Edwards, who went first, looks like the cornerstone franchise player for Minnesota. He's certainly lived up to being the #1 overall pick in this class and has the potential to be a superstar in the face of the NBA. James Wiseman went second to the Warriors, who has been a major disappointment. To be fair, injuries have slowed down his progress significantly, but the Warriors' decision to fill a positional role instead of just taking the best player available will haunt them for years to come, especially with the Warriors' core only getting older. The third pick was LaMelo Ball, who quickly became one of the most exciting young talents in the league, winning Rookie of the Year and showing star potential with the Hornets. If LaMelo can just stay healthy, he has the potential to be an all-star level player for most of his career. This is where it gets interesting. Patrick Williams was taken 4th. He's shown potential as a versatile defender and scorer for Chicago, but has not lived up to be a top 4 selection. The 5th pick in the draft was Isaac Okoro, who truthfully has a very similar playstyle to McDaniels, a great wing defender who struggles as a shooter. The funniest part about this is that McDaniels' playstyle is so similar to both Williams and Okoro, but McDaniels has been a better version of both of them, although they were both picked significantly higher than him. The 6th pick in this draft was Onyeka Okongwu, who has never really had a chance to prove himself backing up Clint Capella for 4 years. The 7th pick in this draft is the biggest bust in the entire class, Killian Hayes, who's already out of the league in just 4 years. It's rare to see a player drafted in the top 10 be off a roster for no other reason than just bad performance, but Killian Hayes was a huge miss by the Pistons. The 8th pick in the draft was Obi Toppin, who was projected as a high flyer and immediate impact player, but had a slow start with the Knicks and was shipped off to Indiana in a trade for just 2 future second-round picks. The 9th pick in this draft was Deni Avdija, who, although averaged close to 15 points per game this season, is rotting on one of the worst teams in the NBA in Washington, who seem to be long ways away from being competitive. At 10, the Suns selected Jalen Smith, who was eventually shipped off to Indiana to back up Miles Turner. Nothing much to talk about with him. As we look back at this top 10, it's safe to say that outside of Anthony Edwards and LaMelo Ball, this is a very weak top 10, and McDaniels has made more of an impact than most guys in this top 10. At 11, the Spurs drafted Devin Vassell, who has actually carved out a nice role in San Antonio, and has been a good volume scorer there. He should be part of that Spurs team that will build around Wembanyama for the next 10 years. At 12, one of the surprises of the draft, the Kings selected Tyrese Halliburton. He was shipped off to Indiana for Domantas Sabonis, and since becoming the guy in Indiana, he's shown himself to be an incredibly efficient and smart player. He's led Indiana to the playoffs, appeared in the All-Star Game, and even selected to Team USA to play in the 2024 Olympic Games. He's most certainly a top 3 talent in this draft. The next 2 picks in the lottery, at 13 and 14 respectively, were Kira Lewis Jr. and Aaron Nesmith. Lewis has shown speed and scoring ability, but hasn't turned into much. Aaron Nesmith has shown he can shoot the 3 at a pretty high clip, but is still looking to improve a lot of other parts of his game. The 15th pick in this draft was Cole Anthony, who has shown he can score in the NBA but isn't on the same level as McDaniels when it comes to overall impact on both ends of the floor. The 16th pick was Isaiah Stewart, who has made his mark as an energetic, physical presence in the front court. He brings defensive tenacity and rebounding to the team while steadily expanding his offensive game, making him a valuable asset to Detroit's developing core. The 17th pick was Aleksej Pokusevski. An extremely raw talent with significant upside due to his height and skill set, Pokusevski has shown flashes of potential but struggles with consistency in performance and physicality in the NBA. The 18th pick was Josh Green. Known for his athleticism and defensive capabilities, Green has carved out a role as a rotational player. He contributes mainly on defense and is gradually improving his offensive game, adding depth to the Mavericks' wing rotation. The 19th pick was Saddiq Bey, who has proven to be one of the steals of the draft, quickly establishing himself as a reliable scoring option. He's known for his strong shooting from beyond the arc and has been a consistent starter for Detroit. With the 20th pick, Precious Achiuwa is known for his defensive potential but is still developing offensively. He's shown hustle and energy but lacks polish and consistency. The 21st pick in this draft was Tyrese Maxey, who has been a revelation for the 76ers, showing that he can score and play at a high level, outperforming many players taken ahead of him. He was an all-star this past season and will most certainly be the 76ers' long-term point guard for years to come. For the 21st pick, Maxey was excellent value. The 22nd pick was Zeke Naji, who has been a solid rotation player, contributing with efficient scoring and rebounding off the bench, fitting well into Denver's system with his energy and shooting potential. The 23rd pick was Leandro Bolmaro, chosen by the New York Knicks but traded to the Minnesota Timberwolves. Bolmaro, known for his playmaking and defense, has struggled to find consistent minutes in the NBA, spending time between the league and the G League as he adapts to the NBA pace. The 24th pick was RJ Hampton, selected by the Milwaukee Bucks and traded to the Denver Nuggets, then moved to the Orlando Magic. Hampton has shown potential with his athleticism and scoring ability, but is yet to find a consistent role, transitioning through teams and battling for backcourt minutes. The 25th pick was Emmanuel Quickley, chosen by the Oklahoma City Thunder and traded to the New York Knicks. Quickley made an immediate impact with his scoring ability, particularly with his floater and from three-point range. He quickly became a fan favorite in New York, and Knicks fans were crushed when he was shipped off to Toronto along with RJ Barrett for OG Anunoby. He's been known for his energy and clutch shooting and is a solid young player in the league. The 26th pick was Peyton Pritchard, selected by the Boston Celtics. Pritchard has proven to be a reliable backup point guard, contributing with sharp shooting and solid ball handling. His poise and effectiveness off the bench have made him a key part of the Celtics rotation. The 27th pick was Udoka Azubuike. Chosen by the Utah Jazz, Azubuike has seen limited action due to depth at center and injuries. When on the court, he's shown glimpses of being a traditional center with strong rebounding and shot blocking skills, but his development is still ongoing. Finally, we reach McDaniels at 28. Over half the players taken ahead of him are still finding their footing in the NBA, while he's being recognized for his defensive skills and growing offensive game, putting him in the conversation for being one of the steals of the draft. Looking back at the draft, McDaniels might be considered a steal at the 28th pick. His development curve and impact, especially on defense, show that he certainly should have been taken much higher. His story is similar to those late draft gems who outperform many players picked before them, showcasing the unpredictable nature of the NBA draft. So what do you think about Jaden McDaniels' journey in the 2020 NBA draft? Where do you think Jaden McDaniels would go in a 2020 redraft? I'd probably put him at 5, only behind Ant-Man, LaMelo, Halliburton, and Maxey, but drop your thoughts in the comments below. And if you liked this video, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and join us next time for more NBA content just like this.